Today, I'm going to show you how you can access OpenClaw for free on Gcore's infrastructure. And the best part, Gcore's very talented engineering team have locked this down, so you get enterprise level security on a European data center out of the box. Who says Christmas can't come early? Now stay tuned to the end for exact details on how to get it for free. So let's get straight into this then. Let me show you what this thing can actually do. So, as we can see, I've got my mobile here. Of course, you can have this on the laptop as well, but the whole purpose of Gclaw is that you can actually run this from anywhere. You can run it from a mobile. So here we are with my Gclaw, and remember, we're going to set this up later, the Gclaw, and we can ask it anything. So I can say to it, what is the weather like today in London? Of course, that's a very basic, simple. What about, can you summarize the main headlines today from the world of AI and the last week? Consider checking the decoder.com and TechCrunch. So this is pretty good. DeepSeek 4 expected in weeks. I did not know this. Running entirely on Chinese-made Huawei. Major milestone in China's push for independence. Alibaba, ByteDance, and Tencent have ordered thousands of units. Microsoft $10 billion Japan investment. Now, it couldn't fully fetch TechCrunch, so it's being honest with us here, no browser available, but these stories from the decoder give you a good snapshot. So let's actually go to the decoder on my mobile and check that this is not hallucinating. Yeah, and here we go. First story on the decoder is that DeepSeek 4 is indeed expected to launch in the coming weeks, and Microsoft is investing $10 billion in Japan. Of course, the beauty of OpenClaw is the ability to actually be able to add integrations to it, to do anything with it. If we press this here, we have slash commands now as well, so we can set up skills, we can see the status, we can approve, we can do subagents, focus, unfocus. There's so much that we could do with it. So if we press subagents, choose a list to log info, send, steer, so we can say list. So we've got no active sub-agents, so we can even ask it, okay, well, what sub-agents could I run? Now this is amazing for coding, of course. So we've got an AI coding platform, so it can use coding, it can spawn a coding sub-agent. Really, really cool. Why don't we think about Notion? So I set this up with Notion earlier. It's very easy to do it. I'm going to walk you through how you do that in a minute. When was my last workout on my Notion fitness tracker? As you can see, the last logged workout was on Sunday, and guess what? It was upper body B, chest, and it looks like I imported it from Heavy. Now, interestingly, I haven't logged on Notion yet my last workout, and if we go, by the way, onto Notion and we get to my fitness and health tracker, and we go to my workout log, you can see I've actually logged more workouts since then on the 1st of April, the 2nd of April. So why hasn't it picked that up? Let's ask it. I worked out on 2nd of April. So what's cool about the Notion integration is with web search as well, you can actually ask this to go off and search for some information and then just tell it to save it to Notion, to update a database every single day. There we go, it's found my April 2nd session. Good work, 5 kilometers in under an hour at solid pace. And then I did the abs machine as well. And it's talking about what I ate as well. Some eggs on toast, some salmon, protein shake. So really, really cool. Now, another skill that I want to draw your attention to that you can set up is actually Readwise. So if you ask it, can we set up Readwise? Or is it already set up? Now, Readwise is like an aggregator. It can go off and it can search particular feed, like if I want a YouTube video every day, if I want a news source and I want it sort of brought into a feed, so I don't have to go on YouTube and get sucked into all the crazy AI videos on the algorithm. Yes, connected this very easily. You just give it your API key. What can you do with it? You can check my reader inbox. So I can say what is currently in my Readwise reader inbox and what is going to be the most useful thing for me to read today to learn more about AI. Of course, not everything in my Readwise reader, you'd be surprised to know, is about AI. So it's telling me to read human writers face an impossible race against chatbots. To read, Claude can now jump between Excel and PowerPoint on its own, and to read something by Andrew Karpathy, who says that humans are now the bottleneck, and to read perhaps privacy in the AI age, what's really changing in 2020-26. Most useful thing it says I can read today is human writers face an impossible race against chatbots that finish a book before lunch, by the Decoder. It says this is fresh, unread, and directly relevant to AI's impact on creative work. Seems right up your alley. Now, another thing that's really cool about our setup is that it now has a Chrome web browser built into it too, so it can do some interesting stuff. And if you were to install the Playwright skill, then of course it might be able to do some web browser automation for you. Here's where it gets really interesting for developers. I can ask it to write code, check a repo, ship a script, all from a Telegram message on my phone. And now it can, of course, connect to Discord as well and iMessage. And you could do this while sleeping safe and sound at night, knowing you're not sending any data to Anthropic or OpenAI. So if you've been watching this channel, you know I've had a lot to say about OpenClaw and security. So let's talk about what is actually running here. Well, Gclaw is powered by Kimi 2.5. It's comparable to something like Claude Sonnet 4.5 in terms of capability. It's a stronger model for an agent that's triaging your emails, summarizing documents, writing code, and it can handle multi-step reasoning pretty well. And obviously it's fast enough, as you've seen, that Telegram responses feel pretty snappy. Now, I would say Kimi 2.5 is a solid choice, but of course we're just launching this, so we're going to see how it goes. That could change in the future. Here's the part I really want to dig into, because if you watched our previous OpenClaw videos on this channel, you know I walked through all the security nightmares. Exposed gateways, plain text API keys, and no firewall. And in some cases, you had thousands of instances sitting wide open on the internet. You also have malicious skills on ClawHub performing data exfiltration without the user even knowing. And so that's the reality of trying to self-host OpenClaw if you don't know exactly what you're doing. So what has Gcore done differently? Well, first, your API keys.
When you plug in your keys, they sit behind a firewall that comes pre-configured out of the box, so external hackers or bots won't be able to access them.
And that was one of the biggest vulnerabilities I flagged in our previous video, and Gcore have solved that out of the box. Second, the firewall. Gcore have pre-configured their web application and API protection so that only your IP address can access your instance.
We configured the firewall out of the box and we closed off the vulnerable parts of OpenClaw. That way hackers can't access your instance through open ports.
But third, and I think most importantly, this is running on Gcore's infrastructure. So what does that mean? Well, it means European data centers, DDoS protection across their network of over 210 points of presence, and the same security stack that protects enterprises like their existing clients. So the three things I told you to do manually before, which is secure your keys, lock down the firewall, and containerize everything, well, Gcore has done that all for you before you even log on. Now, a little bit of a word of caution here. I do want to be clear about it. Just because the infrastructure is locked down doesn't mean you should let this thing run wild. I think the biggest mistake people make with OpenClaw is giving it full autonomy over their email or their calendar and then walking away. Guys, don't do that. Always be the human in the loop, especially if you're going to set this loose on your enterprise, work level, corporate tasks. So let it draft the emails to your boss or to your new client, but review before you send them. Let it triage your inbox, but check what's flagged as important. LLMs are task orientated. They can be overly aggressive in follow-ups with clients. They can misread the tone, and as we all know, they can hallucinate details. Hallucinations are a feature, not a bug. So use it as a co-pilot, not an autopilot. That's true of every AI agent, not just Gclaw. And we have to also talk about prompt injection. This is an industry-wide problem, and it's one more thing I need to flag. And I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't mention it. Prompt injection is still an unsolved problem at the architecture level. So when your AI agent can read your emails, someone can send you a message with hidden instructions that the model picks up and acts on. This isn't a Gcore problem, it isn't a Gclaw problem, and it certainly isn't an OpenClaw problem. It's an industry-wide problem. Every model, every provider is dealing with this. Now, the benchmarks across the board make for sobering reading. But the best mitigation right now is exactly what I said. Just stay in the loop. Review what the agent does before it takes irreversible actions. And you still want to keep sensitive operations behind a confirmation step. So then, the all-important walkthrough. How do you set this up and how do you get it for free? All right, so I am here with my famously messy desktop with a million tabs open. So we're going to go to Gcore and I'm logging in. So here we are. Here we have the Gclaw. So if we click this, recreate instance, it's actually going to walk you through how you set this up. It's dead easy. And every time you want to clear it, so if you're worried about API keys or storing data, you can literally just recreate it and it will, or restart the instance. Here we go, it's loading. Let's try set up Telegram first. Might be more useful so we can actually talk to it on our phone. And it's going to walk us through that. So what you would need to do is you need to go to Telegram and look for Botfather to set this up. And you go to Botfather, and what you want to do is say new bot. Press that, and then that will give you a code, and you can give that code back to our trusted Gclaw. I've already set this up, but it's remembered it, so I can't go through that. And then once you've gone through that, it's going to give you a token. You can name the bot, and then you can just start chatting with it in Gcore. What about Notion? What about if we want to set it up with Notion? Can we set this up with Notion? So you can just keep asking it to set it up with various different things, and it's going to tell you what skills are available. We'll say both, and then we need to get our Notion integration token. So very helpfully, if you ask it to set it up with something, it's actually just going to point you to where you need to go and what you need to get with it. So obviously we'll log in. And you can see I've already set up my integration, but for you, you'd want to set up a new one. So maybe we'll call it Gclaw 2, and then you'd specify your workspace. We'll say create Claw 2. Okay, great. And then it's going to give you a token. So here we would show that, copy it, and give it to Gclaw, and it will set this up for us. Now, one thing to note about the Notion skill as well is once you set up this integration, you actually have to specify each individual database you want. So I would need to go down into connections, and then I would need to add connection, and I would need to specify, in this case, Claw 2 or Gclaw confirm. And so you actually have database and page level authorization that you need to give. So it doesn't have access to everything by default. You actually need to give it access to databases page by page, which is really cool. So there you have it. That's just some of the things that you could do with this. I've only had a couple of hours so far to play with it, and there's an infinite level of things that you can do with it. But one of the biggest questions I get asked is how do you set up OpenClaw, and how do you set it up in a way which is not confusing but is also secure, so you don't give it access to all your data. We've solved that problem. Now notice what you didn't have to do. There's no credit card, no Docker, no terminal commands, no firewall configuration, no VPS setup, none of it. You literally just start chatting and tell it your API keys, and you're ready to connect Telegram, and you can start using it. Now, here's the pricing, and this is the bit I wanted to say right for the end. Right now, Gclaw is free while it's in beta. We want users to test it, to give us feedback, to help us shape this product. So you can use it today at zero cost. Once it officially launches, you're also going to get 1 month free. And after that, it will be a flat $39 a month. Now, if you compare that to some of the managed OpenClaw hosting services out there, I mean, they're charging upwards of $500 sometimes, and you're paying $39 a month here for enterprise grade security on European infrastructure. I mean, that's genuinely amazing. If we look at the space, it is getting crowded. Everyone from Hostinger to dedicated startups are offering one-click deployments. But most of them are giving you a VPS with a Docker pre-installed and calling it managed. And many of them are built around closed source models. So you still have to pay an API tokens. In fact, just this morning, at the time of recording, Claude came out and explicitly said you can't use your subscription with OpenClaw. And remember, with any closed source setup, you're not fully data sovereign. You're paying $200 a month for a Claude Max subscription, and Anthropic are saying they want you to pay API tokens on top of that if you want to use OpenClaw. They're not going to let you use your Max subscription. What Gclaw has built is different because the security isn't bolted on after the fact. It's secure, you have European data residency, and it's Gclaw doing what Gclaw does best. So if you've been curious about OpenClaw, but you've been put off by the security overhead, or perhaps somebody at your company has suggested it and then somebody at higher up got a bit cold feet, this is the easiest way to get started and to know that it's fully secure. Now the link for this is in the comments. We're super curious this week to know if you've tried it out and what you're using it for, and what use cases have you come up with. Let me know in the comments. We put out new videos every week covering AI infrastructure security and the tools that actually matter for enterprise. I will see you in the next video.